Come on, get down, come on. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to Dicesylvania, guys. I am Stef, and today we are looking at my crafting gear. Crafting, painting, and so on. You guys voted on our monthly Patreon poll for what video you guys want us to make, and this is the winner. So here it is. That's the video. Thank you, guys. No, I have made it like a small arrangement here of some of my crafting gear. This is not all of it, but I will cut at certain points in the video, you know, bring out other stuff and move on so that I can show you most of my stuff, if not all of them. Some of it is in the attic and stored away, so I'm not gonna bring that out, but I will show you the stuff that I currently use to make the props that I make for Dicesylvania, the miniatures that I paint for Dicesylvania, and so on. Okay, so I think I should start with a little bit of history behind my prop making, mini painting career, let's say. This is my very first craft project, at least as far as tabletop RPG goes. This is my first project. It's a dice box that I made, I would say 4 or 5 years ago, when we started our first campaign, not with Dicesylvania, but when I first played D&D, actually. While we were planning, making characters and so on, I made myself this dice box. The box, the wooden box itself, was bought from a art supply store, and I added the felt inside for easy dice rolling and stained the wood, because this was a very light colored box. I bought some wood stain and rubbed it all over the wood to stain it sort of a walnut color, I suppose it should be. And I was planning initially to engrave it, but never got to do that. Never got around to it. So this is the state it's in, and it has been for the past 4 or 5 years. Rolls pretty good. That was a 14, if you were wondering. Yeah, so this is my first project. That's when I started sort of this hobby. My next thing, and I will go out of frame to bring it over, was to paint my character for that campaign. And I hope you guys are gonna be able to pick this up, but this, if you can see him, is a halfling rogue named Pott. This is my very first D&D character, and also my very first miniature paint job. It was I wouldn't call it an inspired choice from the point of view of a painter to do this as your very, very, very first miniature painting, but I'm not very upset that I did it, so to say. It was a very small miniature, and I did spend a lot of time doing it. After that, I started painting some more miniatures. Not anything that I needed necessarily. I just painted miniatures that I found in the store. Stuff that I thought looked cool and would be fun to paint. I wanted to take commissions, not in the sense of, having stuff to sell, but take commissions for people who just want something painted, like my friends or the people around the table, but never got around to doing that. So I just painted stuff that I thought looked cool, stuff that I didn't have in my collection. Later on, I started ordering 3D printed miniatures that I could paint, and eventually I got around to wanting to create something that could house all of my miniatures. And I thought, what better thing to make than a diorama? And I decided to make a diorama that could also be used as terrain. Yeah, let's call it terrain. So I made this witch's shop that I'm taking the B-roll for now. This is a diorama that I spent around, let's say, 2 to 3 months making. It was 2 to 3 months of it mostly staying on my shelf, unfinished. But in reality, it was more like 2 weeks, let's say, of work on this diorama. I haven't made one since then because I just need a lot of space to make something like this and to store something like this. I'm hoping that I do get the chance to make more of these because they are very, I wouldn't say necessarily fun to make, but they are a satisfying project. Very satisfying project. I had fun with it. If you look carefully, everything in here is made by me except for those glass vials, but everything else is made by me. I didn't print stuff. Oh, actually, no. That dragon's egg, and there's a couple of skulls in there. Otherwise, the potions are made out of beads with a bit of a painted toothpick stuck into them. The scrolls are made out of tissue paper that I rolled up and painted and dipped in glue so that it stays that shape. The books are made out of 2 types of cardboard that are sandwiched together. All of it is made out of crafting materials, and now it's sort of a place that some of my miniatures can hang out. I'm really happy to have it. It's definitely a conversation piece whenever we have people over. They always ask about it. Where did you get it from? I made it. Oh wow, you made this. Yeah, it's nice to have it and point it out. Okay, now to get to my gear. I talked about my miniatures. I do have some paints for them. This is a collection that I've built up over time. I'm talking about the paints. All of these are Vallejo paints. I do have some Citadel paints as well. I just didn't take them out of storage. And by storage, I mean that closet, that what do you call that cabinet right there? I didn't take them out of that cabinet right there. I did start out with a set of no, actually I started out with just a couple of Citadel paints, and if you can see, I started with flesh color, green, brown, and purple, and silver. Those are all the colors I started with, and then I slowly expanded to more and more colors, and then I got myself the Vallejo, I think it's the medieval set, and for a while that was my complete paint collection, but that slowly grew as well. So now I have all of these paints. They're in a rack that I 3D printed. Not on that 3D printer, I'll talk later about. the second 3D printer. And I use these brushes. What are they? Daco fine detail art brushes. I have 2 sets because this is one that I haven't even started using yet, but these brushes are very much beaten up and used up. Some of them don't really, I mean, look at this one has the paint peeling off of it. They're great brushes. I mean, I've been using them for 3 or 4 years now, and I'm just now starting to get to the point where I need a second set. Honestly, I haven't used all of the brushes in there. Some brushes are unused completely. But the ones that I use more often, they are banged up, and I bought a second set to play with, let's say. Yeah, a lot of stuff that I 3D print for Dicesylvania, I have 3D printed on this printer right here. This is an Ender 2 Pro, which I got some 3 years ago, let's say. At the time, it was the best 3D printer for miniatures. I do have a couple of minis that I printed on it. I don't know if you can see this, but I'll take some B-roll shots of these 2 miniatures. But this has been my workhorse for a very, very good while. Everything that you've seen in Focus Pocus, I printed with this, except for the characters, you know, the minis, those were resin printed. But everything else, the lock puzzles, maybe I should beep that out. Yeah, I don't know if I'm giving away spoilers or not. All of the stuff, let's see, some of the enemies and some of the things that the characters encounter in Focus Pocus have been printed on this, like the flame tokens. I can talk about those because that video is out. The flame tokens, those were a few days of printing with this 3D printer. It's been a good 3D printer to learn on, very good to learn on. It's beginner friendly for the time when it was made. Right now there are much more friendly options for 3D printers. This was beginner friendly for its time, meaning that you don't have to assemble it, you don't have to, you know, tinker with it. A lot of time, for a long time, 3D printing has been a hobby for enthusiasts and not for newbies, to say. So this one was one of the more friendly options, but you did have to do manual bed leveling and all sorts of setting up before you started a print. So it has been a good printer to learn on. Right now, this is out of commission for the time being, for several reasons. First of all, it's a small printer. Like the printing area for the projects that I had in mind when I bought it, I wanted to print some certain things, and when I started slicing them, getting the designs, getting the design files for the stuff that I wanted to print, I realized that my printer is too small. And of course, anything you 3D print, you can 3D print it as big or as small as you want, but I wanted to 3D print terrain at scale, so I wasn't really able to do that. I would be able to cut it, but it was just too complicated. So it's a small printer, it's a mini printer. Second of all, most 3D printers print off of an SD card. You can see there's an SD slot here. This printer decided at some point that it does not want to read SD cards anymore. So at that point, I had the option to print off of a computer. by connecting this printer's USB port to this laptop, I was able to print all of my stuff. However, and this is a funny coincidence, so to say. So this printer doesn't want to read SD cards, right? Well, this laptop is prone to blue screen errors. So if I get a blue screen while I'm printing, the print will stop. It will fail because it doesn't really have a print recovery system unless you're printing off of the SD card, which doesn't work anymore. After that, I decided, okay, since this laptop is not reliable, I will print off of a Raspberry module. So I installed Octoprint on this Raspberry Pi Zero and set it up, connected it to my printer via USB cable, connected it to my Wi-Fi network, and I was able to go on any computer on my Wi-Fi network, load 3D files so that I can load it onto the Raspberry Pi so that I could print them. However, that printer doesn't want to play with this. A lot of prints were, actually not a lot, every print that I did using that Raspberry Zero ended up not failing, but taking way too long of a time because the printer would freeze mid-print, hang up for a couple of seconds, and then continue. That prolonged the duration of the print, but the other effect was that the printer kept extruding. So you would end up with these pimples all over your print because it would stop in one place and keep pumping out filament. So you'd get these blobs everywhere. So that wasn't an option. So I had to stick with this laptop. I tried another laptop. I tried my desktop computer. I had the same thing happening as that right there. I tried working with all of the USB settings and the baud rates and the COM ports and everything. Nothing worked. It wants to talk to that laptop and that laptop alone. And that laptop wants to blue screen. So yeah, I had to work between those two things. I had to set up a print, make sure it doesn't take too long, hope it doesn't blue screen, and be very happy when it finishes successfully. Yeah, it has been a good printer for that reason. So beside the printer, I have more painting equipment, not just the brushes and the paints. I also have airbrush equipment. What do you call it? An airbrush. Yeah, I have my trusty airbrush here. I'll take it out of the packaging. There you go. Yeah, so I have this airbrush. This airbrush was a very cheap one. It came in a combo pack because when I bought it, I decided to do the conservative thing and just buy the cheapest thing, see if you use it, and if you do, go to the next thing up or the more qualitative thing. I bought the cheapest thing and I stuck with it because in reality the airbrush itself is very decent quality. It's not the greatest airbrush, but it gets the job done. It's up there with airbrushes that are 3 times its price, or maybe 2 times its price, maybe not 3, but it's up there with other airbrushes. The cheap thing in the package that I bought was actually the compressor. It was a very small compressor, and for that reason, for a very long time, I was not able to paint with my airbrush. I was only able to prime with my airbrush, and that was fine by me because that was mostly the reason for which I bought it. It was when I started painting 3D printed miniatures Most of the time when I got those miniatures, when they came to me, they were not primed. I tried priming them with a brush. I didn't really like the results, so I got this airbrush. I tried to paint with it a couple of times, but the compressor was just not strong enough and the paint would not come out. Primer, I guess, was thinner, and that would spray successfully, not paint though. By the time I tried to thin it, but by the time I thinned it so much, it would just slide off. It would be translucent at the point that it just wasn't a usable tool for painting. In the meantime, though, my birthday happened this year. I don't know, happens every year. And my friends at Dicesylvania decided to buy me a compressor. And this is a very good one. I'm very happy with it. It packs a punch. I don't know what technical stuff I could tell you about it. It brings air in and it pushes air out at high pressure. That's mostly what I can tell you about it. I have tested it and I am able to spray color with it, and I am a very happy camper because I now have started painting with my airbrush. However, I need to, be careful with that because primer was a different thing, but when I put paint in it, especially with my off-white curtains here, it's gonna do a number. So my next step in this is to get, I shouldn't use that word, but let's do it for now. Get a spray booth, a miniature airbrushing spray booth. It should be this big, maybe, I don't know. There are a few options that you can buy. There are a few options that you could 3D print. I want to kind of combine the two because there are spray booths that you can buy that are like collapsible and they take up very little space when you don't use them, and there are versions that you can 3D print that you assemble, and that's how big they are. They're very large. I am looking for the best of both worlds. I want one that's collapsible and I want to 3D print it. So I have started working on a 3D design for a collapsible paint booth, but that's gonna take me a while to do because this is the first time that I'm doing my own 3D designs. Actually, no, it's the first time I'm doing something this big with 3D design. So that's gonna take a while and it's gonna be a long-term project for me, definitely. But once it's done, I will make it freely available for anyone to use. If you want to print that, print it. If you want to print it to sell it, I don't care. I'm just making it for my own sake, and whatever anyone else wants to do with it, they're free to do so. But I'm getting into too much detail with that. So yeah, I am working on my own 3D printed spray booth. That's the short of it. Okay, let's talk about more of my stuff here because I feel that I've only covered some of it and there's a bunch more stuff. I have here a hand drill, or a palm drill, I think. Yeah, it's a palm drill because I like to put holes in my miniatures. And I'll tell you about it. So when I started, I used this to paint my minis. I would get either minis that are already glued to the base, or I would get minis that come separate from the base. I would glue them on and then I would paint them. But there was one thing that challenged me very much, which is, painting underneath capes, painting, pants or skirts or legs or anything, coats on the inside. That's a very tricky thing to do when your miniatures is stuck to your base. So I bought this palm drill for my miniatures. What I started doing was to get my miniatures separate from the base and not glue them on, but drill a small tiny hole inside their, usually their foot, if nothing else is available, and glue a pin into that hole. So now I can, you know, hold my minis and paint them without having the base getting in the way. I've been doing that ever since I bought this hand drill. Very rarely do I still occasionally get a miniature that is attached to its base, and in that case I will use my trusty miniature holder, but mostly this is how I do it. And I paint the bases separately. It's really nice. There's no mess. I don't get the color for the base on the feet or the color for the shoes on the base. It's really good and I recommend it. If you want to try it, honestly, it's really easy to paint when you don't have the base getting in the way. Okay, so that's about my hand drill. I have here my wet palette. This is honestly my brand new wet palette. I've had this for a very short time. For these past years, I have used a Tupperware container with a wet cloth inside of it and some oven wax paper on top of it. That works just fine. I got this honestly just because it's very slim. I bought this wet palette because it's small and it doesn't take up space inside my cabinet over there, as opposed to the Tupperware container. That's for my wet palette. I have next to it some containers for mica powder. Mica powder is basically a mineral. It's also used in makeup, but we used it for our potions. We made the potions for Focus Pocus. We wanted to make them very glittery, very shiny. That's what mica powder does. It's sort of like a very, very, very fine glitter, but it's not plastic. It's a mineral. Honestly, I think there are alternatives because mica powder, from what I understand, from what I found out after I bought this, is not quite ethically obtained. It comes from some mineral mines all over the world where the labor is not completely ethical. So there are alternatives to mica powder. There are ethical alternatives to mica powder. I also have some ink that I used for those potions because I tried to use my paints and they just weren't strong enough. So we ended up getting some colored ink: yellow, green, black, blue, red, and that's it. I have my tablet, which we're gonna have to wait for it to turn on. I've got my tablet here. Before we get to that, I have my Warhammer snips. I got these cutters for basically a miniature that I bought. It came on in one of those, packages that you need to snip off and glue it back together. And it's very useful for cutting the filament when you feed it into your printer. Also very useful for cutting supports off of 3D prints. Okay, I've got my tablet where I have notes and plans. Not many right now. These are some plans, some sketches that I made for the spray booth that I was talking about. These are some very rough sketches that I made when I first got the idea. These are, you know, some planning notes for all the potions that I made, and so far that's it right now. But I use this a lot for planning. When I have a more complex project that I'm working on, I use this. And you know, an X-Acto knife. I have a few of these, but don't need to show you all of them. One's enough. These are very useful. You know, they have detachable blades, because these blades will at some point get very dull. So it depends how aggressive you are with them. They can get dull very quick, so you need to replace them, and I have lots of spare ones. Yeah, I've used this for cutting stuff when I made it. And speaking of cutting, I also have a cutting surface. That's really useful if you don't want to mess up your table. This cutting surface is sort of self-healing, meaning that when you cut a deep groove in it, it has some, as far as I understand, it has some very small capsules of liquid plastic, and when you cut a deep groove, you also break those small capsules and they fill the groove back up. Yeah, you really want to use something like this when you cut, so you don't mess your table up. Speaking of my table, this is my crafting table. This is actually my coffee table, but it can go to this size. From, you know, this size, I can open it and turn it into my crafting table. That gives my cats the opportunity to sleep here. And I also use it as my desk sometimes when I work from home. Now let me reset all of this and show you guys my other 3D printer, and move on to what I have been doing lately with that one, because I don't think you guys have gotten yet the opportunity to see what we've made. So I'll be right back actually. It's gonna be a few minutes for me, but it's gonna be instant for you guys. So this is it. This is my new 3D printer. This is a Bambu Lab P1S, and right next to it is let me move this out of the way, an AMS unit, which is an automatic material system. That's what AMS stands for. This little unit here is an optional part. This helps you print multicolor. I have 4 rolls of filament loaded inside of it. I have gray, black, white, and a sparkling green that I am using right now. What this does, it helps the printer select a different color filament so that you could print in color, multicolor. I think you can connect 4 of these to one printer, so you can print in like 16 colors. I wasn't gonna get one of these, but then Bambu Lab has had an anniversary sale for their 3-year anniversary, and this combo unit, that's what they call it, became very cheap, and I decided to get them both. I've been having fun with this for a few weeks now. Initially, I tried to film an unboxing of this printer for this video. It ended up being like 20 minutes of me struggling to open a cardboard box and rambling away while doing so. So I'm just gonna, play this fast forward footage of it. I have had time to test it. Not all the way through. As you can see, unlike my first printer, this is a big enclosed box, which means that you can print more materials, more temperature sensitive materials, stuff that needs constant high temperature, because the enclosure will heat up and stay the temperature that it needs. So you can print in other materials. I've only printed in PLA, which is supposedly non-toxic. This should technically also allow you to print more toxic materials inside your house, because it does have carbon filters. I haven't done so, and I don't think I will do so, because first of all, I have cats, and I care about their health, and I also care about my health, and I am not comfortable with printing I wouldn't call them very toxic, or risk factor materials, let's call them that. So I am sticking for the time being to PLA. I did print these objects that are here on the table. I've made more than a few bookmarks. These are actually made in multicolor. These are they are gray, white, and black, but they look really nice. I have printed some modular terrain for D&D, which I need to finish dry brushing like these two are, but these should be very, very useful. And you can do all sorts of configurations with them. You can have your players create challenges for your players. I've printed some props like this wand. This is a design made by Loot Studios. I have printed all sorts of small animals and thingies. I made some fidget toys. What else? I decided after a while to also make some useful stuff. This is I think it's called a mandrel, a ring mandrel. You use it for measuring the size of your rings. I made this when we wanted to buy some rings online and didn't know what size which we should order. I've already talked about the paints rack that I also printed on this printer, and these two dice towers. Actually, these, I don't know if I can show you guys, but these are separate from those dice trays. Let me take one off. I'm sorry if that was too noisy. Yeah, these dice towers that I made, I initially sliced them and got them ready to print on my first 3D printer. This would only be able, I would only be able to print this at 90% size because it's too large for my initial printer. So with this printer, I was actually able to print it full size. And with my other printer, it would have taken somewhere around 1.5 days. Which was, a lot, especially with what I've told you guys about my issue with the laptop, and long prints are really risky to do. So yeah, I ended up printing them on this printer because I decided to buy it sort of ahead of the time that I wanted to. This took I think 17 hours to print. This was the first one I did. I adjusted the settings a little bit, and then I printed this one in probably 13 hours, drop the time a little bit because I fiddled with the settings. These are gonna be used in an upcoming Dicesylvania project. Stay tuned to find out more, because one of you is gonna own one of these, or maybe two of you are gonna own one of these. We're gonna figure that out later. Stay tuned. You're gonna see in a few weeks probably something on our Instagram or on our YouTube. But you guys are gonna own these. We're also gonna use them. I was thinking, my idea was we're gonna do a giveaway with one of these at the start of the project. The other one we're gonna use during filming and give it away at the end. We'll see how we're gonna do that. Maybe that's gonna be it, maybe not. Enough about that. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the printer, and then I'm gonna let you guys go get out of your face. So, a few things about it. It's quite noisy. Luckily, I do have some rubber feet installed on it. Those are not the original feet that the printer had on it. I did get a gift from Barbu because it was their 3-year anniversary. Together with the sales, they also sent like a gift package to everyone who bought like a full printer. And you get 3 random gifts. One of them included these rubber feet, for me at least. I did get some like electric tea lights and some LED panels that I can use to print some lithography, put the LED panels behind it, and make it into an interesting and artsy lamp. So those rubber legs have reduced some of the noise. I also printed some stuff for the back. This is a waste chute for the filament. This printer, how we call it in the 3D printing world, poops. This printer poops, and let me show you guys. Yeah, so this is printer poop. This is the filament that it basically extrudes before it starts actually printing. It goes out a little chute at the back, and it goes into this basket. So this is something that I actually printed on this very printer. I added some small magnets to it, and now I can stick it to the back, and all of these, instead of just going down off of the back of the printer, go inside of this waste basket. And also, let me put that back on. I've printed a muffler. Let me get that one. This goes onto the exhaust of the printer at the back. Again, there's a fan in there, and there's an exhaust for the fan. I have printed this muffler that goes onto the exhaust. I've added some felt to it to deaden the sound a little bit. The design of it is also, I'm not sure what this does for acoustics, but I'm pretty sure it does something, because the noise has indeed reduced a little bit. I'm gonna take this a little bit further in the future. I just haven't gotten around to it. I will be using some sound deadening material that material used in cars for soundproofing. I'm gonna stick some of it to the panels inside the printer and add also some felt to them, reduce the noise a little bit further. So far I'm the happiest with these rubber feet because they reduce a lot of the vibration. The printer mostly lives on my floor, and I'm sure that when it bed levels and it starts vibrating really hard, that the neighbors can probably hear it. Once I added these rubber feet, it has reduced quite a lot. Yeah, that's for my printer. I've shown you my other things. The collection is still growing. I don't know what's next though. Right now, this has been my biggest investment in this hobby, and I'm slowly expanding. But with my printer right now, with my new printer, I print way much more than I did before, and I am also much more able to make my own tools now. So at this point, it's not a question of making investments anymore. It's a question of if I need a tool, I will make it. If I need a prop, I can make it a lot more easily. Yeah, it's very nice to have. I'm very happy with it, and I've gotten used to having it very fast. It makes my work so easy. Yeah, but I think for now that will be it. Thank you guys for joining me. If you want to see more videos that you guys choose, go to our Patreon. It's linked in the description. You can, if you subscribe to our Patreon, you can vote for what videos we're gonna do, and you can get probably some, I don't know exactly what you can get. You go to our Patreon, you will see. If you're not subscribed to our channel, please subscribe. Like this video, it helps a lot, and it's free for you to do so. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a great one, and all that good day, good night. Don't let the vampires bite. Bye bye.